can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Edgar Chairez takes on Felipe Bunes this Saturday on the main card of UFC Fight Night Mexico City, and this is a good matchup. I think these guys are evenly matched. I think both these guys have a lot of potential, very well rounded. You would look at their records: Edgar Chairez 12-6, Felipe Bunes 14-8. Not the best records, but these guys have a lot of skill. And Edgar Chairez, he's looked pretty good in the UFC so far. His only losses are to Joshua Van and Tatsuro Taira, who are going to be fighting each other for the belt coming up, so no shame in those losses. Lost to Clayton Carpenter on the Dana White's Contender Series back in 2022. Lost that by decision. Clayton Carpenter, he's underrated. He's very well-rounded. Lost to Jesus Aguilar, and then some losses on the regional scene on the come-up, but very high level. Same with Felipe Bunes, 14-8. He's 36 years old, so getting up there in age. And I remember when he was fighting Jose Johnson, I did a pretty deep dive on his regional scene, and he was fighting a lot of really high level guys over in ACA in their hometowns. Had a lot of success. You could say that some of these decisions should have gone his way, but outside of that, again, losing to Joshua Van, Rafael Estevam in the UFC, Jussier Formiga outside of the UFC, no shame in these losses. Has a lot of finishing potential as well, a lot of submission ability when it goes to the ground. So I think this is going to be an interesting fight. Felipe Bunes, very good off of his back, very high level jiu-jitsu, does a really good job of swiveling his hips from his back, very dangerous when he goes there like we saw in the Jose Johnson fight, but he also has really good stand-up, very dangerous on the feet. You're just not really safe wherever this fight goes. He kind of reminds me of a Charles Oliveira in that he's very well-rounded, can finish the fight on the feet, on the ground. Really crispy Muay Thai, fast hands, good kicks, good combos. Has some spinning kicks as well. Showed a decent chin against Joshua Van, was taking some shots, eventually kind of succumbed to the pressure as the fight progressed. Doesn't have the best takedown defense like we saw in the Rafael Estevam fight as well. But you can say the exact same thing about Edgar Chairez. Very tough, good stand-up, has really good kicks. He's big for the division. I think he's going to be the bigger, more filled-out guy in this one. I like his stand-up, but again, his Achilles heel is the takedown defense. He gets takedown a lot. I think he's only got like 33% takedown defense. Tatsuro Taira was able to get him down. But in that fight, he was having a lot of success, but he kept jumping guillotines. Just very low IQ moves. Maybe he didn't really know the grappling level of Tatsuro Taira. Maybe he thought that he could get those. And then even that Joshua Van fight was pulling guillotines as well. So when it does go to the ground, he's got a lot of finishing ability. Guillotine chokes, arm bars, triangles, rear naked choke. CJ Vergara in his last fight, that was after dropping him. In that fight, he dropped Tatsuro Taira, he dropped Joshua Van. So I think he's going to have, like I said, he's going to be the bigger guy. He's going to have the power advantage. And I'm going to go with Edgar Chairez in this one. I think that he's going to learn from his mistakes. He won't be jumping guillotines. I don't think Felipe Bunes, although he is very good on the ground, he's got good takedowns. I don't know if he's going to have the success required to get Chairez to the ground continually and hold him there. If he does get him to the ground, I like Edgar Chairez. I like his size advantage. I like his cardio to be able to scramble up. And I like that he can threaten on the ground with submissions. He's not going to be a fish out of water against another high-level guy in Felipe Bunes. And you look at Bunes' stats, got two takedowns on Joshua Van, but outside of that, 22% takedown accuracy. He's usually the guy who's using it in reverse. He uses it if he gets taken down. He can use it to get back up to his feet or threaten on the ground, but I just don't see him having a lot of success, shooting double legs and getting guys down, and especially against somebody like Edgar Chairez, who I feel like is the younger guy. He's going to be making the bigger improvements at 30 years old and kind of like shoring up these holes in his game, not making these mistakes over and over, and I feel like he'll be able to do a decent job of defending the takedowns against Felipe Bunes, not jumping guillotines against a guy like this, and rather digging underhooks and keeping it on the feet, where I think that he'll have the power advantage. Like I said, I think that he'll be blasting kicks. He's got really good like Mexican style boxing. I think he's from the Tijuana area as well, but good defense, keeps his hands high, always showing something. He does a really good job of kind of feinting, using his head movement, always putting punches or something out there to keep his opponent guessing. Just very active. And again, I think the leg kick's going to be big against kind of the thinner opponent in Felipe Bunes. We saw that I think he dropped Tyra with some leg kicks, and in that first round against Joshua Van was really beating up the lead calf, and you could show that that was starting to wear on Joshua Van in that fight. So he's a jiu-jitsu purple belt, like I alluded to earlier. I would expect him to be a little bit more higher up than that, just given the amount of submissions that he has and just the grappling game that I've seen before. My concern is in that department, though, is we have seen him, once he does get to the ground, kind of get controlled by some of these guys. You see in that Tatsuro Taira fight, he'd get him to the ground, wasn't able to really get back up. So that is a concern, but I would consider Tatsuro Taira to be better on the ground than Felipe Bunes from a top game perspective and, you know, controlling positions on top. So I'm gonna go with Edgar Chairez. I think that if it does go to the ground, he'll be able to stay safe, use his size, scrambling ability, threaten with submissions, look for sweeps to get back up to the feet, and I think he'll be doing more damage on the feet when it does go there. We've seen him hurt a lot of guys. Drop Joshua Van, drop Tyra, drop CJ Vergara before he got the finish. Has been out of the cage for a little bit now. Last fought in March, so approaching a year since he's last been in the cage. Felipe Bunes fought Estevan back in August. So gonna be a year out, but in front of his home crowd against a very exciting opponent. I think this is gonna be a fun fight back and forth. But I'm gonna go with Edgar Chairez. I could see him losing in the grappling. I could see him jumping guillotine or doing something silly, or Felipe Bunes just being able to get him to the ground at some point, controlling him there, maybe finding a submission, but doing a lot of top control, landing damage, winning rounds. Felipe Bunes' cardio does concern me. We've seen him slow down in the Van fight, eventually started to slow down in the half-out Estevan fight. Granted, that was a very high-paced grappling match, but Edgar Chairez, tough as nails, not concerned about his cardio at all. So I'm going to go with Edgar Chairez. I think he can get this one done. I think he'll get it done by decision. I think he'll be battering him on the feet, defending takedowns, and be winning rounds. I haven't looked at the odds. Edgar Chairez, minus 250. All right, well, I guess I made the right pick. So Edgar Chairez, by decision. Thanks.